So round 3 of Super Rugby gets underway tomorrow. We've got a New Zealand derby and an Aussie derby. 3 losers, I guess you could say. So 3 teams looking for redemption, and 1 team kind of looking to prove that last week wasn't an ordinary result. It was the start of something. So Blues face the Chiefs up here in Auckland. Yeah, it's a big game for the Blues and a big game for the Chiefs, really, because the Blues, with the pressure of not having beaten a New Zealand team in a very long time, and the Chiefs, just with the amount of points they ended up conceding to the Crusaders last week, are kind of just under the magnifying glass a little bit more. So it's the first home game for the Blues. Like I said, pressure is really on for them to get a victory over a New Zealand team. In terms of the personnel, Sonny Bill Williams is out, so disappointing. TJ Faiani comes in. He's a capable replacement, but he's not Sonny Bill Williams, so that's disappointing. There's been a few players kind of swapped around who played on the bench last week who've come into the starting lineup and vice versa. So I'm not sure if Tana is just rotating, trying to keep guys fresh, or if it's still kind of early season, he's trying to give guys a shot to kind of stake a claim to that starting spot in the lineup. So we'll only find out as the season goes on. Kaino, who's recently announced that this is going to be his last season of Super Rugby, is on the bench, so it gives the Blues a little more depth in the loosies, because they've had problems there with injuries. But speaking of injuries, the Chiefs have got a lot of players out. The article I recently read said 15 in total. So yeah, a lot of guys not available for selection, but they'll be looking to improve from last week. I know they got injuries, but you're still playing another away game, so 2 away games against New Zealand rivals is a hard start to the season. But you're playing the Blues, which is not the same as playing the Crusaders, so you've got to look at this as more of an opportunity to get a result. No Ngatai and no Marty McKenzie, no Dominic Bird. Those are some of the guys who were in the squad last week who are now unavailable for selection. And they've got a really young backline. I mean, Brad Webber's 27, which is fine, but outside of him, everybody is pretty much 22 and 21. I mean, I think Anton Leonard-Brown's having a birthday next month, but still, he's 22. So a lot of youth, but not necessarily inexperience, because like Damien McKenzie, Anton Leonard-Brown have played a lot of rugby at this level and at a higher level. Sean Stevenson's had a full season. He's at fullback, so he's had a full season of Super Rugby. So yeah, I mean, just having youth is not a bad thing. Hopefully they can be fired up for this game. Liam Messam gets a start, because Mitchell Brown was still unsure if he's going to be right for the game. So, I mean, if there's a chance for the Blues to beat New Zealand opposition, it has to be this one. They looked decent against the Highlanders last week. The Chiefs are kind of riddled with injuries. They're at home. I mean, it's not quite now or never, but it's come on, do it now for the Blues, really. But if the Chiefs played like they did, last week, before the yellow card, I think the Blues could have a hard time of it, because the Chiefs are not going to be a pushover just because they've got a few guys out. They've still got a raft of talented players in their squad. So, yeah, it should be a good game. Whoever loses, I think there's going to be kind of people questioning their season already, even though they'll only be, it's 3rd round, but they'll only be 2 games in. If the Blues lose, it'll just be, they're out of it because they can't beat Kiwi teams. If it's the Chiefs, people will be saying, oh man, you lost to the Blues. Have you really dropped down a level? So, yeah, not going to be easy for either team. And who knows, it might be a draw like last season. Then that'd have everybody scratching their heads. In the next game, so the Reds take on the Brumbies. It's really a game where we're going to see where both teams are at, because the Reds, we didn't really get a clear picture last week, having played most of the game with 14 men, or 13. And the Brumbies, they played the Sunwolves, who are a largely changed team. and they didn't beat them that convincingly. So yeah, still questions of just how good are they? Are the Sunwolves improved and they actually did well to beat them, or did they not put a weak side away? That's kind of the question that we're going to find out on Friday. So yeah, I mean, the Reds showed a bit of bite against the Rebels early on in the game, and then even for a while when they were a couple men down. But I mean, it got too much for them over the course of the game. So, you know, with 15 on 15, this is a truer test of the squad. Higginbotham and Tui are out, suspended, both for 3 games or 3 weeks. So Kane Douglas and Liam Wright come in the second and back row. Good to see Wright get a game. He's not going to number 8, he's going to number 7. So yeah, it's a team for the Reds which was already young, which is going to get even younger. Speaking of young, so Harry Hocking, the big young lock, is in on the bench. I'm hoping to see him get a run because he looks to be good anyway from what we've seen him at the kind of under 20s or NRC level. Slipper is captain rather than Karevi, which is interesting because it was just assumed that Karevi was going to be captain. So yeah, we will see. Not sure if there's any reason for that. I mean, Slipper's probably only going to be on the field like 50 odd minutes. He might play a bit longer, but we'll see. I mean, he's been captain before, so is Karevi, so I guess either way is fine. The Brumbies starting lineup's pretty stable. Richie Arnold drops out of the squad entirely. I guess he had a kind of quiet game last week. Rory takes his place, so talk about like-for-like replacement. And Blake Enover takes the bench spot. So again, it might just be rotation because he has got like 4 locks that are all kind of pretty high quality that need to get game time. So it could be just trying to keep everyone happy. Not sure what the thoughts are with that. Again, he could just be seeing who's the best combination. And you know, obviously Valtini got injured last week, disappointingly for the young guy. So McCaffrey comes in and he looked good against the Sunwolves. So there's no loss there. I think it's pretty good. Yeah. So first Reds game at home. So similar position to the Blues. Can they deliver something for the fans? It's a good question. Get more people back in the stadium, because there is, at least from what I've seen, there's been a bit of kind of hope there with Brad Thorne in place, but it might be still a bit early to expect too much of them. I think it's probably a long-term project. Yeah, and the Brumbies just need to see if can they get over the travel. I know Japan's not that far. It's a handful of time zones from Australia, but it's not like going to Argentina or South Africa. So yeah, travel factor, potentially tougher opposition. Kind of like I said, remains to be seen where the Sunwolves are at. So they got the Reds who will be fired up. If the Reds lose, then I think people start to write them off. They'll just say, all right, this squad's too young. Maybe next year, which will be jumping the gun, but people will start saying it. And if the Brumbies lose, then people will kind of write them off for that Aussie conference like leading role. They'll start looking to the Rebels or to the Waratahs, at least until Saturday, because we always like to write the whole season of the whole story of the season based on last week's results. And then the next week, those results are all forgotten, and it's based on whatever happened most recently. So it's not going to be fair, whatever happens to the losers of these 2 games. But you know, realistically, despite what will be written, they'll have the whole season to kind of change the story. Right. So yeah, 2 interesting games. I'm looking forward to watching both of them. I'm not sure how the weather's going to be here in Auckland. It's pretty murky today, but we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Yeah, let me know who you guys think is going to take it out. Anyone you're excited to see playing. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again for the next one on Saturday. See you later.